Hey there, how are you today? My name is Coach Danya, and I'm your financial literacy mentor. Today, we are going to be talking about the CPA exam. So, as many of you know, I am a CPA in the United States, and I just wanted to give a few tips to those individuals who are studying for their CPA exam. So, today, we're going to talk about my 5 key tips, and these are tips that I lived by when I was studying 5-6 years ago, and the tips that I give my senior associates and my associates today, my team members and those I mentor in my profession. So if you're interested in this topic, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like some one-on-one coaching as we go through, feel free to book some sessions with me down below. I'll drop the link, and I wish you the very best as you start your CPA journey. Let's dig in. First, I'd like to tell you to try to give yourself enough time, enough time to studying. There are people who are successful when they cram. I'm not one of them. And for those individuals, I really admire that skill. I'm not one of them. And the individuals I also work with are not like that either. So try to give yourself enough time for studying. And a rule of thumb that I lived by and that I advise is 1 week per chapter. And then during that week, you'll divide the chapter up into subchapters and either hit 1 or 2 subchapters each day or every other day as you devise your study plan. Then in the end, 1.5 weeks, 1 week to 2 weeks, ideally 1.5 weeks, reviewing for the exam. So this is a good guide to help you understand what time frame you may need in order to plan for the exam. So if you only have a month to study, it's doable. You may need to up your hours, but ideally, if you're studying for FAR or reg, a month won't be enough. And a week for each of the chapters is sufficient and a really good idea as you navigate the exam, life, work, everything else you have on your plate. That is the best tip I can give you. For your subchapters, so next I want you to be realistic in your time frame. Again, you can get an exam done in a month, you can cram. That is not my strong suit, and that is not something I would recommend, and that is not something I would teach. So I think it's important to plan around your life events, work events, holidays, birthdays, weddings, and to give yourself some grace if you miss any days, but hop back on it and try to catch up if you do miss any days. So you should also plan, if you're in public accounting, plan around your busy season and give yourself some grace, because busy season's really tough physically and mentally. So adding studying on top of that can really burn you out, and that's what we want to avoid. In addition, missing family events and events for loved ones can really crush your spirit. So I think it's important to prioritize that in your study plan and bake it in so that you can enjoy those events guilt-free. The third one is to get organized. So in this, we talked about planning out, giving yourself a lot of time, being realistic. Now you actually need to plan out what the time frame looks like. And what I do is I book the exam and I work my way backwards. So once I work my way backwards and have my allotted time, say 1 week for each chapter, 1.5 weeks to study, at the end and review everything, what I do is I say, okay, what's my first date I'm gonna study? And then I take either a virtual calendar or a paper planner, and I go with the textbook, the study book, and with the digital or paper planner. And every day I say, okay, what am I going to do? And I plan this out before I even start studying the whole book. What I'm gonna do for the next 5 weeks, 10 weeks, however long it's going to take you to study for this exam. So then every week, what do? I say one subchapter a day, maybe 2 subchapters a day, because there tends to be about 4 to 7 on average subchapters per chapter. So I would recommend studying at least 5 days a week and giving yourself a break for 2. And this might mean that one of the days of the week you get a break so that you don't have to come home and study. And then on Sunday you get a break so that you have a whole day just to recharge, because you're balancing work, life, and CPA studying. You don't want to burn yourself out. It's a long process, and you want to make sure that you are taking care of your own well-being in order to perform well on the CPA exam. So what I would recommend is breaking it down and planning step by step. What am I going to do this day? What am I going to do that day, the next day, for every single week? And in that, you can also say, okay, I know that the 3rd week of studying, I have a wedding on Saturday. Does this mean I study on Sunday? Or am I not going to be up to par on Sunday? I'm going to be really tired on Sunday. So what's the alternative? We either front load studying in the beginning of the week, or we push it back a little and push it into the next week. And that will give you permission to go and enjoy yourself at the wedding or the birthday or whatever event, and not feel guilty in the back of your mind saying, I should be studying, because you already planned for this and you already set yourself up for success. This is the part that's most challenging for most of the individuals I mentor, and the part we really focus on. Next is know how you study. So it's very important to know how you study. And what does that mean? The CPA exam but really tests how the study skills you've developed in college and how you implement them. So personally, muscle memory. So I loved going through the material with my study course, and I rewrote every single note from the textbook. So verbatim from the textbook, the diagrams, I drew them. And that's how I retained the information. In addition, instead of buying their study cards, I looked at their digital study cards and I wrote them out. So I had the same study cards, except they were in my handwriting, so that I retained the information better. Next, what I had done is on my drive to work, on my drive to the gym or at the gym, or even at home while I'm cleaning, I had the lessons that I had learned the last week or the week before replaying in the background, because I'm not fully paying attention, but my mind is still working and picking up information. And so that's how I was able to retain more information and really reinforce topics that I learned last week that I probably forgot a lot of already, so that later on when I'm restudying for it and reviewing for the exam in my final weeks, it's still semi-fresh because I'm re-listening to videos that are 1 or 2 weeks in arrears. So know how you study. Study is very important, and utilizing it is also very important, right? If you like the flashcards, and flashcards are a big part of your study method, and they only have X amount of flashcards, create more flashcards for whatever you learned in the subject that day, and use them. Have your friend test you if that is something that helps you. Know your study method and utilize it to the best of your ability. Now, my last tip is, this is my favorite, is to know that it's okay to be an okay associate or employee while you're studying for your CPA exam. I know that us as accounting majors, accounting students, and people going for the CPA exam, you're very ambitious and you want to be the best at what you do, and we're very hard workers, and that's why we're in this industry. But don't forget that it's okay to just do your job. You don't have to be involved in so many committees. You don't have to go do excess chargeable hours. So long as you're doing your job, you're hitting your minimum requirements, you're showing up on the days you're supposed to show up into work, you're staying the hours you're supposed to stay, you're a solid employee. You don't have to be a rock star while you're studying for the CPA exam, right? The CPA exam should be your main focus outside of hitting the minimum criteria for being a decent employee. And that's okay. That's one of the hardest pills to swallow, is being okay, being regular, being an okay employee. So we don't have to go above and beyond while we're studying for our CPA exam. We should focus on studying for our CPA exam, and then once we're a CPA, we can go above and beyond, and we'll probably get promoted a lot faster because we do have our CPA. So that is one thing to give yourself grace on and some flexibility with too. Those are my 5 tips. So the CPA exam is a marathon, and each exam is both a marathon and a sprint. So you need to assist yourself in being successful and set yourself up for success. If you'd like some help with this area, I'm so happy to help you. It would be my honor. Please feel free to book a coaching session below, and we can go through each book, and I'll help you plan out the next few weeks with your CPA studying journey. And if you'd like accountability, I am more than happy to be your accountability coach. If you found this helpful and some of these tips helpful, like and subscribe below for more content. And feel free to reach out to us with any questions. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.